But there's clearly a supply issue right now with the vaccines. The federal government can't confirm how many doses have already been made locally. Queensland said it's storing vaccines over supply issues. Does the federal government need to come out and give Australians an indication of how many have been produced locally?
What we need here is transparency, Danica. My understanding is the state governments have objected to data being released on how many vaccines there are, how many have been given to states. That was something that was, I believe, discussed at the last National Cabinet. Well, I asked the state governments to let the sunlight in. Let the sunlight in to how many vaccines are out there. If you've got nothing to hide, don't hide anything. Because right now we're seeing this pretty tawdry blame game play out. I don't think the Australian people want that. I don't think the Australian people want a Queensland government that seems to have a sign on their desk saying the buck never stops here. Let's all just take responsibility for this and get all the data out there. Release all the data. Release all the information to the Australian public. What have you got to hide?
Queensland's Deputy Premier Stephen Miles yesterday accused the Prime Minister for using the vaccine rollout to distract from the issue of treatment of women in Canberra. We know as well David Littleproud last week fired his own words. Is this war of words appropriate?
Well, I was a bit surprised to hear Mr Miles say that. I suppose there's two versions of events here. One version is that Prime Minister Scott Morrison was able to get deficiencies into the Queensland health system that caused 2 outbreaks to occur in their own hospitals. He then spread misinformation about a story around a house party occurring with 25 guests, which never happened. He also had made sure there were failures in testings, where a Gladstone person just down the road from here couldn't get a test straight away, even though he was a close contact. And that caused this massive distraction from all the things in Canberra. That's one version of events that Mr Miles has come up with. The other version is that Queensland Health stuffed up. That's the other version. And I don't know about you, Danica, but I think always the simple story is always the most believable. There were stuff-ups here in the last few weeks. I'm not going to continue to worry about who is to blame, who's not. Let's fix the stuff-ups. And if Mr Miles thinks billions of dollars of costs on small businesses in Queensland is somehow a distraction attempt, it shows he is completely out of touch with what is occurring on the ground here. People lost their jobs in the last week. People have been struggling to pay the rent. Businesses have been struggling to keep their doors open thanks to the issues that have been exposed in the Queensland health system. Let's fix those issues rather than continue this ridiculous political tennis match of going between Canberra and Brisbane all the time. People are sick of it.
All right, well, it hasn't gone away in the last week. Matt Canavan, thank you for joining me this morning.
No worries, Danica. Have a great day.
Thank you.